American Hostile Championship Wrestling returns to Poplar Bluff, Missouri on Saturday, May the 11th for Mayhem. That's right, Mayhem in the Bluff at the Knights of Columbus at 2289 Grand Avenue, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Mayhem on the Bluff features former WWE Tag Team Champion Trevor Murdoch. That's right, Trevor Murdoch. Meet and greet seating is available. Golden for $15, silver for $13, bronze for $11, $10 for general admission. Seating kids 5 and under free with the paid adult. Only $10 for the meet and greet only. Trevor Murdoch will also be having a seminar, that's right, from 2 to 4 p.m. for only $30. Come out, bring your kids, enjoy a family fun night with professional wrestling. Also featuring R.W. Hardy, Graham Bell, Brandon Espinoso, and the Missouri Bad Boys, and many more. Can you feel it, folks? Can you feel the mayhem coming to Poplar Bluff, Missouri? If you can't feel it,
can't feel it. I got a size 12. I'm going to show straight up some.
Whoa, Trevor. Guys, he's having a good day today. May the 11th, Saturday, May the 11th. Be there.
Mysterious Productions. Let's get spunky. What we gotta get your way by using that Spunk tonight.
Shooting the Shiznit is sponsored by SpunkLube.com. SpunkLube is an award-winning personal lubricant that's fun. SpunkLube is available in 4 varieties: hybrid, pure silicone, natural, and pink. Place your order today at SpunkLube.com and tell them Shooting the Shiznit sent you.
Now me and her have been at it for a couple of rounds. When things got dry, man, I pulled out the tube. I gotta get her wet by using my Spunk Lube. Nice and smooth, wet and
Blue Chew can now offer you the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis at a fraction of the price, discreetly delivered to your door. No waiting rooms, no appointments required, no embarrassing face-to-face meeting with your doctor. You're just minutes away from a heightened sex life.
Use promo code STS. Get your first month free. All you have to do is pay postage and handling. Now on with the show.
Tonight, Jerry Lawler, I'm going to prove when you mess around with hot stuff, you're going to get burned.
Tonight's the night that Eddie Gilbert starts to live up to his name. He calls himself Hot Stuff. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make him real hot tonight.
If you ever try it again, I'm going to kill you, Jack. Do you understand what I said? Have I got to run you over with my car? You want to be nuts? Well, I can be a little nuts too, Daddy. So it ain't playing no wrestling games, Jack. I'm talking about fact. You're not throwing nothing in my face, and you ain't sneaking up behind and doing nothing to the superstar. Because I'm taking you out, brother, and I mean all the way out. And that's a fact, Jack.
In the Twilight Zone now! In the Twilight Zone! Yeah. Bundy! Yeah.
Oh yeah, music career, son of a gun. Hello again, everybody. Lance Russell and Dave Brown, and we're right along ringside all ready to kick it off for another big day.
Hey, before we get to the show, I just wanted to remind everyone, this is Memphis in May. That's right. We'll have some local Memphis area wrestlers, and then we'll have some legends on here to talk about Memphis wrestling. I just want to tell everyone, we also are doing a drawing at the end of the month for a loot box. That's right. You can be entered into winning a loot box. All you have to do is do hashtag MIM. That's right. Hashtag MIM. If you retweet anything, hashtag MIM, it will go into the folder there. And then one person, a lucky person, will win. Guys, we're giving away a DVD set, $50 value, Power Pro DVD set. It's the whole run of Cornette. We also got a couple of 8x10s of Eddie Marlin. We have KT Does Art, one of our sponsors. She has done portraits of Joe LeDuc and Jimmy Valiant. These are one of a kind, guys. This will be the first print of these. Not sure if we're going to do any more. So there you go. Also, you'll get products from our sponsors. Okay, guys, let's get a quick commercial and get on with the show.
Hankey's Toys is the place for your adult toys. All toys sold on this site are made of the finest 100% platinum silicone. From the texture, firmness, length, and width, Hankey's Toys are designed to please. Hankey's Toys takes a lot of time and effort to develop each toy. Reach them on Twitter at Hankey's Toys. Search YouTube Hankey's Toys and see the unboxing of many of their products. Also go to www.mrhankeystoys.com. That's right, mrhankeystoys.com, and use promo code SHIZNIT10 at checkout for 10% off your order.
Live from STS Studios in St. Louis, Missouri. And I have Jerry Jarrett. Yes, Jerry Jarrett. This is Memphis in May. Last year, you guys know I did pretty much some local guys. We had Derek King come on. But this time, I said, hey, I want to get some guys that's part of Memphis history also. We got Randy Hales coming on later this month. And we got Jerry Jarrett. Jerry, Mr. Jarrett, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you don't mind if I sell some of my goods.
Hey, that's what we say, you know. I always make sure everyone I always say put over your shiznit, you know. We got to make sure that we get everything. But I got some questions and these are not going to be probably your typical wrestling fan questions. I grew up in Steele, Missouri, off the exit of I-55 there. Went to Blytheville, Arkansas every Friday night that you guys had a show. Started in 78, and you'll love this reference. The Kisser was there on the first show that I was on. So my first question is, do you have any fun Blytheville, Arkansas behind-the-scenes stories?
Well, I certainly do. And
oh, wow!
Tojo and I were booked in Blytheville, Arkansas when I first broke into the business. And Tojo was one of those guys that if he was booked somewhere, there were no good excuses for him not making it. And we had one of those torrential 5 or 6 day rains, and Arkansas and all the surrounding areas flooded. You know, those farmlands around there, some of them pretty flat.
Oh yeah, I mean it's surrounded. People not from the area. You know, I lived what they call it in the country, and it was my house, and it was farmland. That was it. There was no neighbors or anything. So yeah.
Well, you know that, and I forget what year it was, but it was a treacherous time to be on the road. So I'm new in the business, and I'm suggesting, not telling Tojo, can you see the road? No. Don't talk to me, I'm nervous. I said, well, why don't we turn around? What are you driving by? And he said, oh, those fence posts. The road's just over here. We make it all right. We drove. It took us, I don't know, the matches in Blytheville, didn't they start at 8 o'clock?
Yes, sir. That's when they started, yep.
Yeah, I think we got there about 9:15. But I was a nervous wreck. Tojo drove all the way, but I always, from that day on, checked the weather before I took a booking in Blytheville, Arkansas.
I loved Blytheville. I mean, first, like I said, I was 11 or 12 years old, and then the Kisser was the first match, and that hooked me. I never watched professional wrestling on television, and then all of a sudden it hooked me. And then that arena was so packed almost every time we went, and there was beer drinking. So that was the kind of show that I thought every wrestling show was. By main event, everybody was crazy. They always had someone act like they were getting in a ring. But I went to a couple shows in other places after that, and I was like, man, this crowd's not as rowdy as Blytheville, but it did have a lot to do with that beer drinking. So have fond memories of that. So thanks for that. I appreciate it. Something else I've always thought about is, and you guys, Randy goes over how big the gates were and how many people you continuously drew in the Memphis area. But one of my favorite teams, and I'm a tag team guy, huge tag team mark, and it was the Fabs. And the Fabs were so popular, and I don't know if people really understand how popular they were, but us kids growing up, remember we were kids, and so we weren't Fabs fans because they had all these music videos and they were wearing these little tights and all that until they started with the Moondogs feud, where they got bloody and their jackets got ripped, and we had all of that. Then all of a sudden we thought the Fabs were badasses,
Yes.
When did this come? Was this Jackie's idea? Was this your idea of putting these two guys together to bring back the Fabulous name? I've never heard this story.
When I was a child, my mother sold tickets at the Hippodrome on Tuesday night, and she didn't have anybody to stay with me and my sister, so she would stick us in the box office on a Coca-Cola carton.
Right.
And then I got old enough that she would set me in a ringside seat. And the Fabulous Fargos were booked on the card one night, and I was hooked from that day on. I really thought they were movie stars. They wore glitter, they wore top hats, both of them. Well, Jackie had the long blonde hair. And I just, I thought I was in a movie watching them. And so years later, when I had the opportunity to start booking Memphis, Jackie was retired, and I went over to the Southern Frontier. It was a restaurant beer joint in Memphis. And I flattered him, but I was telling the truth. I said, "You're too young to retire." He said, "You're booking Memphis? Have they lost their mind? You're a kid." And I said, "Well, I wish you'd come. We're really drawing big houses." And he didn't even follow wrestling then. He finally agreed, and of course, it got back in his blood, and he had his second career and did sensational. Then it got time for Jackie to retire. And so I missed him. My children watched MTV. And so I saw the influence of the music videos and how it would hook the kids. So I said, I'm going to try to reincarnate the Fabulous Fargos. And I had them sequin jackets made and top hats. And, a lot of thought went into it. I knew that they would come across as pretty boy looks. Yeah. So I had them grow 5 o'clock beards, and I made sure they wore long tights. And sure enough, it was the reincarnation of the Fabs. And the videos made them appear to be movie stars. And then, of course, I had the Moondogs, and it just made sense that these movie star Fabs would tangle with these wild men Moondogs. And it was 4 guys that really loved the business, and kayfabe was the era, so they wanted to be sure the fans could suspend disbelief and know they were really fighting. So, you saw it, they did, and it was just a fabulous era, and it made a lot of money.
Well, I've been later on when Spot Moondog went into, doing his own promotion and everything before he died. I actually was on some shows with him, and I know how stiff he was. So I know Stan and Steve put up with stuff, but it looked. I mean, I was not smartened up at the point, but at that, like I told you, at that point we quit calling them, We stopped saying they were pretty boys. We started saying they're badasses, and huge Fabs fan, and loved the stories about how famous they were. And so we're on the Fabs. I got another question. So the new Fabs, Tommy Rich, Eddie Gilbert, 2 of my favorite guys in Memphis wrestling. Followed those guys when they went to other places. One of my questions was the angle already set up for the turn and everything, or did you guys just see that wasn't working out and you had to turn somebody?
That was one of the biggest mistakes of my promotional career.
Okay.
And what was so unique about it is every time somebody would come into my office to come to work for me, and we had a lot of kids that we broke into the business. And I can remember sitting with Jerry Lawler and Jim Cornette and Jimmy Hart and all these different wrestlers that were just breaking in. And I said, don't try to be somebody else. Right. God gave you a distinctive fingertip, and it goes from the tip of your finger all the way through your body. You are unique and you are different. And what you want to do is be able to make your personality larger than life and be yourself. So that was my preaching to everybody that came into Memphis. And lo and behold, I'm thinking one day we wasn't drawing, and I thought, boy, if I could bring the Fabs back. And I said, well, I can do that. And so I took 2 great wrestlers. Eddie Gilbert and Tommy Rich were really good wrestlers. But boy, that backfired on me just about as fast as we got it started. And there's an old adage in the wrestling business, if it doesn't draw the first week, it won't draw the 10th. So I saw real quick that I had screwed up royally. And so I had to figure out a way to get myself out of it. And, the turn was the easiest.
And just awesome, too. The turn was awesome. See, you could have sat here and told me, well, Brian, I planned it all along. I knew it was going to stink up the joint, so I knew I was turning him in the end anyway. So, but I appreciate you being honest. Guys,
oh, yeah.
Let's take a quick commercial, and we're going to be right back. We're going to talk to Jerry about, he's actually still in the wrestling business doing all kinds of things. So we'll be right back.
What you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John Brown come for you? Tell me what you wanna do, what you gonna do.
American Hostile Championship Wrestling brings you Battle of the Bad Boys. That's right, the Battle of the Missouri Bad Boys. May the 18th, 2019. Bell time is 8 o'clock p.m. Caruthersville Armory, 801 West 3rd Street, Caruthersville, Missouri. First row tickets to Golden Row, only $15. Row 2, Silver, $13. Row 3, Bronze, $11. General admission is $10. Kids 5 and under, free with a paid adult. For advance tickets, call Mark at 636-232-3313 or James at 573-359-8696. As you guys know, I've done advertising for the American Hostile Championship Wrestling for a long time, but let me tell you something here, guys. Missouri Renegade against Mark Southern. If you're in the Tennessee area, Arkansas area, Missouri, right there in the Boot Hill, Missouri, these two guys started together. Let me key you in on a little secret here. These two guys don't like each other. Not at all. This is not a work. They're not friends on Facebook. Mark Southern against Missouri Renegade Street Fight. Guys, you want to be there. Nothing nice to advertise. Also, the LA Hustlers. Beer 30 will be there. Jason Bond and Derek King. Be there! This one's going to be crazy, guys. What you gonna do when they come for you?
Mysterious Productions. Let's get spunky. What we do? Gotta get your wet by using that spunk lube tonight.
Shooting the Shiznit is sponsored by SpunkLube.com. Spunk Lube is an award-winning personal lubricant that's fun. Spunk Lube is available in 4 varieties: hybrid, pure silicone, natural, and pink. Place your order today at SpunkLube.com and tell them Shooting the Shiznit sent you.
Me and her being at it for a couple of rounds. When things got dry, man, I pulled out the tube. I gotta get her wet by using my spunk lube. Nice and smooth.
This is your bedroom with Blue Chew. Blue Chew uses the same active ingredients as in Viagra or Cialis, but now comes in chewable form. Chewable means better, cheaper, and works faster than pills.
I've tried Cialis, I've tried Viagra. Blue Chew works the best. It's a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's definitely gotten the job done.
No in-person doctor visit, no waiting in line, no more awkwardness.
Blue Chew allowed me to have more sexual freedom because it kicked in and worked faster.
Ordering Blue Chew is an absolute no-brainer for any man.
Blue Chew makes my girlfriend, want to put up with me in bed.
I felt like I did when I didn't have ED.
Order online to get your first month free.
I want my girlfriend to want me, and with Blue Chew, she really does. Blue Chew is the future of manhood.
Go to BlueChew.com and restart the party. Or call 800-232-8803. 800-232-8803.
That's BLUE Chew.com. Promo STS, and you get to try it for free.
Wow.
I hear you.
Wow.
All right, back out of those commercials, we do thank our sponsors. I teased right when we went to the commercial. Jerry, you've never really just got completely out of the wrestling business, have you?
Well, yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
When I came back from working with the WWE and Vince McMahon,
right.
I was absolutely, totally burnt out on the wrestling business. So I ended up selling my business to my partner, Jerry Lawler, and I got elbow deep in the construction business. And we were building schools in Georgia and re-imaging service stations for British Petroleum in Alabama and Tennessee and Georgia. I was developing subdivisions and probably still to this day produced more home lots in Sumner County than has ever been. And so I really, because I was burnt out, I totally got away from the wrestling business until Jeff came to me one day and he said, things didn't work out for me when I left and went to WCW. They folded, and I just missed the wrestling business. Please help me get back in. And, of course, you do whatever you can do for your children. And so I got in it, and it was a disaster from almost the first day. The one guy double-crossed us and spent almost $1 million on pay-per-view advertising. And anyway, the Carter family came in as investors, and that is kind of the old saying, out of the pot into the frying pan. Things got worse and went downhill from there. And so when I left there, I truly got out of the wrestling business and did some real estate and continued with my construction. And then, lo and behold, several years go by, and I'm thinking, I spent my whole life with traditional, what I call classic wrestling, and it's just about dead. It's gone. So I met Rock Parsons and his family, and they are great people, the best partners I ever had. And I told them that my dream was to break new people into the wrestling business and also to have a repository or a library of classic wrestling. So out of those two things came what's now Olympus Wrestling Star Search. And that's where we go around the country and take these, what you call outlaws, their independents. And we're looking for talent, just like American Idol looks for singers. We're looking for the next generation of superstar wrestlers. And now we have Jarrett Parsons Network on Roku, streaming television. And we have a place where we can give these young and upcoming wrestlers a platform, a stage, so that they can get known. So you can go to Jarrett Parsons and you can see the wrestling that so many people love, from Portland, Maine to Memphis and over to the Carolinas, everywhere. And we are constantly gathering more and more hours. Our policy now is to put 80 hours a month of new video. Plus, we're starting with the first episode of Olympus Star Search, and I think we've got 5 or 6 shows, and we're planning on production as we speak. So, yes, I'm back in the wrestling business.
I know you wrote a book not too long ago, and then getting in this, I've got a Roku, had one forever, sat down and watched a lot of stuff, and then you get caught up. I mean, and you said something, it's almost like, I don't know, I love the new style of wrestling. I really do. I'm not that guy that says, there's not going to be a way to evolve and change, because I think the wrestling business has to change. So they have changed what we used to do or what you used to do. But you sit down and you start watching this stuff. I watched some of the Memphis, but I you've got Continental on there. Huge fan, like I told you earlier, I'm a tag team art. So a huge fan of the Nightmares. And started it 3 hours, 4 hours goes by, and you go, wait, I've been sitting here in this recliner watching wrestling from the 80s. So, and then, we didn't start trading tapes until probably about 86 or 87. Some people were lucky with 84, 85. So there was a lot of stuff that, I never seen. I never got a chance to see. So, the only wrestling I would see was you got to sit there from 11 to 12:30 every Saturday, or when cable television came in, you had to go to your friend's house because I lived out in the country. But and we talked on this show a lot about how technology evolves the wrestling business, and you are a perfect example. You started, like you said, promoting shows, to now we're promoting stuff on Roku. If you have a Roku, downloads. Now, Jerry, what I like about this, tell me how much it's going to cost for people to watch all this.
It's free.
Hey, free's good.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own streaming service, and everybody, you got some stuff in Amazon, you got this. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited about the Wrestling Search. You don't know this about me, and I say outlaw shows, but I actually promoted outlaw shows, but I took a moment to hit all these little shows and search for the best myself at one time and said, okay, these are the guys I want on my show. So my question is, if you're going to do this and you're going to search for new talent, is the next step putting on a wrestling TV show?
Well, I certainly hope so. Here is the big factor in that. We are currently looking for sponsorship. Number one, it will help us to procure more wrestling tapes. Number two, it will give us the money to start Olympus Wrestling, a new wrestling company that is a traditional, old school wrestling. And when I say that, you say old school, it sounds like it's headlock and wrist lock. But as you know, our wrestling was anything but. We wrestled, but we also did a lot of crazy fighting.
Well, you never knew when you were going to open up the back of the studio there where the audience was, take a baseball bat like Rick Rude did, and walk into the parking lot and mess up the car. You just, everybody, and that brings me, this is coming off the cuff here, you talk about wrestling style. What do you think that, and Randy's talked about this before, but what do you think that why Memphis wrestling, people say, well, that was a Southern style. They were hokey. There was comedy. No, there was comedy. There really was, but there was something for everyone almost from the start to the end of a Memphis show. Why do you think Memphis wrestling gets a bad rap there?
I really don't know. I know that the Memphis TV show had the highest rating of any TV show in the world. That takes in Japan, Australia, every state in the Union. So it couldn't have been that hokey, or it wouldn't have got the ratings it got. It couldn't have been that hokey, or people wouldn't still enjoy. And we get fan mail, and I get fan mail from kids that are 16, 18 years old, and they'll put in the fan mail, I am such a big fan of yours. Well, I haven't been in the ring in 30 or 40 years,
yeah.
but through YouTube and now with Jarrett Parsons Wrestling, there are people still enjoy it to this day. And we get letters, fan mail from every state in the Union, from Russia, from Africa, from Germany, France, Italy. We get fan mail from all over the world, and they all say the same thing. We just love your Memphis wrestling.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, big news now is AEW forming Tony Khan. Tony Khan is a huge wrestling fan when it comes to Memphis wrestling. One of his favorite things was the Bill and Buddy show. And so he even put that over on a Jericho podcast. So it lives. The Memphis wrestling will always be my favorite. I really like Mid-South after I started watching it. Huge Cornette fan. I think it's funny you talk about be yourself. If you'll go back and watch the very first Jim Cornette interview, he was even good during the first interview. It was just crazy. I've always wanted to ask you, we get off some more little wrestling history here for you. And one question I've always wanted to ask you, after I seen that you did the first match of this kind, was what the hell were you thinking with the scaffold match? What made you come up with that, and why would you do that?
Well, I came in from some town. When you've spent 3 or 4 hours on the road late at night, it takes a little while to unwind. So I'm sitting on the couch, and this B, or maybe it was a C movie, was on at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was into probably my second or third brewski. And these two gladiators were in a sword fight. And a tree had fallen, and it doesn't make any sense because there's not a tree that's 300 feet long. But anyway, for the movie's sake, it had fallen from one side of the cavern to the other, and down at the bottom was a river. And when the camera shot, it looked like it was 9 miles deep. And these two guys fought on the sword out there, and I'm, first thing you know, I'm finding myself up on the edge of the sofa seat, really intent on watching it. And I'm naturally thinking the good guy's going to get killed, and that's going to ruin a bad movie, make it worse. But anyway, the good guy finally won, and the other guy fell down to the bottom of the river, and that was the end of the movie. So when it was over, I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, man, that was exciting. How could I simulate that in wrestling? And then I said, well, I'll just put a scaffold over the top of the ring and run it up into the top of the ceiling. And then I'm thinking, how far can I fall and not kill myself? And so then my next question was, after I figured out the logistics, who is crazy enough that I can talk into doing this? And I found out nobody. So I had to be in the very first one. I finally talked Don Green into doing it. And the way I got him to do it is I said, you'll fall off to the floor and pretend you break your arm. He said, pretend? Hell, I'm liable to break my neck. And anyway, I said, oh, no, here's how you can do it. And I said, I will pay you for the next 6 weeks to just walk around in a cast because I want the people to really believe it. And he said, well, that's a deal, a nice payoff, and then get paid for making an appearance in a cast. And so we did it, and it worked. Yeah,
it's just one of those things where, I'm not sure. I think Dundee was in the one that I remember the most, and then some of those old videos were released, and I was like, Jerry did the scalpel first, and then listening to some of the podcasts and finding out that was the first one, and knowing that you came up with the idea. I want to ask Doug Gilbert, and if I ever remember to ask him what were they thinking when they run over Jerry Lawler, and how the hell did they talk him into doing that? There's things like that you guys did that always made me think. After I learned the behind the scenes of the business, I was like, I'll do a lot of stuff, but I'm not doing that kind of stuff. All right, let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back from the commercial, we're going to talk about Bruce Pritchard. If you're like me and have never used skincare products before, I recommend starting with Tej Hanley's Skincare System Level 1. It gives you all the basics that every man needs to look and feel amazing. The best part is that it's only $25, and with our discount, it's only $20 to get started. Guys, I use all the products that we advertise here on Shooting the Shiznit, and I have never used a skincare system where you're using it every day, doing exactly what they say. It's amazing. It really is. Before I started using this, I'll admit, I wasn't convinced that, you got products like this, that they actually work, or that you see them. You can see the results as soon as you put them on, or a few days you can actually see the results. I'm absolutely sold. I don't think I can go back without using this skincare system. You can go to tinyurl.com/STS Skincare. That's STS Skincare. Use the promo code right there, Shooting the Shiznit. That's SHOOTIN, the Shiznit. That's right, guys. Tell them we sent you here at STS. You was talking about, we talk about podcasting. You got your own podcast. We'll make sure we do a plug for that. But you become kind of, famous because of another podcast, and Bruce Pritchard. And I wanted to ask you this because to me, it's just being disrespectful. It's not even funny. None of the humor is even funny to me. My co-host Lance always says, humor's good if it's funny. The joke has to be funny for us to enjoy it, What's your take on this Bruce Pritchard thing? Was he just jealous because you were coming in there?
Well, I didn't know he was doing that. And I did an interview with a fellow in a radio station in Memphis, and he asked me about my chicken salad. And I thought, well, how does he know I cook? And I said, well, it's pretty good. He said, what all do you put in it? And I started telling him, and then they started laughing. And after it was over, somebody called and said, that so-and-so and so-and-so was so disrespectful, making fun of you. I said, he wasn't making fun of me. I really do pride myself in cooking. I make great pasta, the best smoked chicken you put in your mouth. I make tuna salad, egg salad, and chicken salad. So then I started listening to Bruce's podcast, and now I'm trying to figure out what it was. And so listening to him, it jogged my memory. So I'll tell you what I think it is. When I went, Vince was in trouble, thought he was going to prison, and he needed somebody that knew all phases of the business to come and get acclimated to WWE in case he had to go to jail for 6 months or 6 years, whatever. And so he called, and this part's very personal. Me and Vince's daddy were very, very close. He's probably responsible for me getting to promote Memphis because he stood up for me at the NWA convention when I had my fight with Nick Goulas. But anyway, Vince Sr. called me and said, my boy is talking about running the world and he's going to make terrible enemies, and whether he's successful or not, I don't have any idea, but I know this. I don't have long to live, Jerry, and at some point in time, he's going to be in trouble. And every time we talk on the phone about Andre the Giant or whatever, you say, if there's ever any way I can pay you back, Vince, let me know. And I did say that to him. So in this call late at night, he says, I want to tell you that if Vince ever calls you and asks for your help, I hope I can count on it. And I said, absolutely. So when Vince called, I don't know if his daddy had told him or hadn't told him, or if Vince just thought, with my experience, I could help. But anyway, I go up there. So Bruce Pritchard and Pat Patterson were in Vince's circle. Oh, J.J. Dillon also. And they would meet out at Vince's house and do the booking. Well, my job was principally to be involved in running the business. So I spent a lot of time with the treasurer of the company. I spent a lot of time with the advertising department. I spent some time with the magazine area, the television production. But I would also, Vince would have me out to sit down for their booking things. And Bruce was kind of Pat Patterson's gopher, right. Go for this and go for that. So I thought it was humor at the time. It probably wasn't, but I'd kind of make fun of Bruce. And, one of these bobbleheads where they say, yes, sir, boss, you're right, boss. Whatever you say, boss, I'm with you all the way. Well, I saw one of those in a store, and one day I carried it out to Vince's house for our creative meeting, and I set it up on the table, and I said, now, Vince, you can fire Bruce Pritchard, because this little doll can contribute everything he contributes. So...
Yeah, hey Jerry, I might know now why he doesn't like you. I may know that now.
Yeah, well, I mean, then the other thing is, Vince had me staying with him when I first got there. And then one day I told him, I said, Vince, you are a workaholic. You work 20 hours a day. I have to have at least 7 hours of sleep. I'm going to move out into an apartment. And Pat says, why don't you move in with me? I've got a great big house and there's nobody there but me and Louie, and we'd love to have you. And we got a guest suite in the house, a bedroom and a bathroom, and you can come and go as you please. So I said, okay. So I moved in with Pat and Louie. Well, for some reason, Bruce turned 3 shades of green. He didn't like that at all. But, I didn't care. I never thought that Bruce contributed much. So I guess when I look back, he took offense to my humor and and decided to talk about my cooking. And I would out at Pat and Louie, I would cook and make chicken salad and tuna salad.
You should get your, you know what? I mean, you know, we're sitting here talking about cooking. We got, you know, Lawler does that barbecue sauce. We may have to talk to someone about doing the Jerry Jarrett chicken salad recipe if it's that good, you know.
You know, that gives me a great idea, and I would love it. What do you think about me having on the Jarrett Parsons Network Jerry Jarrett's cooking show?
Hey, you said egg salad. See, I have my own egg salad and chicken salad recipe. So, you know, that would be something I would watch, and it would be a huge inside joke too. So that would be the fun part. Jerry, I really want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it being Memphis in May. I kept you a little longer than I should. I want everyone to know we'll be back here, same bad time, same bad channel, on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there, and as you know, guys, I love my mama. Thank you, Jerry.
Bye-bye.
Hankey's Toys is the place for your adult toys. All toys sold on this site are made of the finest 100% platinum silicone. From the texture, firmness, length, and width, Hankey's Toys are designed to please. Hankey's Toys takes a lot of time and effort to develop each toy. Reach them on Twitter at Hankey's Toys. Search YouTube Hankey's Toys and see the unboxing of many of their products. Also go to www.mrhankeystoys.com. That's right, mrhankeystoys.com, and use promo code SHIZNIT10 at checkout for 10% off your order.
Graphic design is very important. Your logo is the first image potential customers see. What kind of impression would you want to make today? Need a podcast logo or a t-shirt design? KT does art. Her name has become synonymous with quality and professionalism in the graphic design community. She specializes in graphic design, painting, and more. She provides affordable commissions and professional quality with a timely delivery. Contact KT via email at kt_doesart@yahoo.com. Check out her Instagram at instagram.com/kt_doesart.
That was another great episode of Shooting the Shiznit. Looking for contestants for Who Wants to Be the Best Shiznitter Ever? That's right, contact me and be a contestant on Who Wants to Be the Best Shiznitter Ever. A big shout out to our sponsors this month. Also, remember, we have a Patreon for only $1. That's patreon.com, Shooting the Shiznit without the G. A special thanks to Bob McGee at Pro Wrestling's Between the Sheets, Gene Jackson at locals2legends.com, and Sean Garmer at Wrestling to Max website. You can reach me on Comic Book Mark BT on Twitter, at BT Shooting the Shiznit on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook with a Shooting the Shiznit Facebook page. We have the Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk Facebook group. If we don't like you, we'll kick you out, but you also have to ask to get in. All the archives are at www.stspod.club. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, Podcast Addict, Spreaker, Spotify, and all the fine podcast players. Podcast Roll Call. A big shout out to Creative Control. Keeping it 100. Memphis Memories with Randy Hales and my buddies over there at P3 Radio, Max and Josh. Also, non-wrestling podcasts I listen to, Who's Right Podcast and Po Boys. Guys, I am Brian Trammell. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.